Okay, 11 says simplify x plus 4 squared. So again, it's got two terms in the parentheses, so it's a binomial, and we're squaring it. We want to expand and then use the Punnett square. So expand, if I square something, that means it's times it by itself. So it's x plus 4 times x plus 4. So now we're multiplying binomials together. And if I multiply binomials together, I want to use the Punnett square. So I've got x and 4 and x and 4. Again, first box is x times x, so it's x squared. This box here is x times 4, so that's 4x. This one's 4 times x, so that's 4x. And then 4 times 4 is 16. So we're going to have our like terms on the diagonal again. So I start with x squared. 4x plus 4x is 8x, and then plus 16. Okay, 12, it says factor completely, and again, it's a binomial because there's two terms, so we want to factor the binomial, and to do that we need to find the greatest common factor. So if I look at 14, x to the 5th, y to the 7th, and again, what numbers go into 14? Well, we got 1, 2, 7, and 14. X to the 5th means x times x times x times x times x. And y to the 7th means I have 7 y's. And then on 2xy, the only numbers that go into 2 are 1 and 2. And then I have 1x and 1y. So the greatest common factor is the greatest amount they have in common. So the biggest number they have in common is 2. The biggest number of x's they have in common is 1. And the biggest number of y's they have in common is 1. So my greatest common factor is what I circled in one of them. So it'd be 2xy. So that goes on the outside of the parentheses. Now, I picked 2 as the number that they have in common, so 2 times what gives me 14, and that's 7. How many x's did I have left uncircled? So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, so that's x to the 4th. How many y's did I have uncircled? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so y to the 6th. Since this is a minus sign, we're going to put a minus sign. Here we had 2, so 2 times what gives me 2, and that's 1. And I don't have any x's or y in this term left uncircled, so then we're done. Okay, 13 says factor x squared plus 9x plus 18. So again, whenever we're going to factor, we need to make sure we know what a is. So a is the number in front of x squared, so that's 1. B is the number in front of x, so that's 9. And c is the constant, or the term without a variable. So when I make my diamond, I take a times c on top. So it'd be 1 times 18, which is 18. Then b goes on the bottom, and b is 9. So we need to know what times what gives me 18. So that's either 1 and 18, 2 and 9, or 3 and 6. Then I need to figure out what pair adds up to get 9, and that would be 3 and 6. So we can write our answer. We know we're going to have x and x here because it's x squared. Then we take our two side numbers. So it's a positive 3, so I put plus 3. It's a positive 6, so I put plus 6. 14 says solve by factoring. So it's a trinomial, so we're going to factor it again using the diamond. So a is 1 again, because there's nothing in front of the x squared. B is 7. C is 12. So on my diamond, again, a times c on top, so it'd be 12. B on the bottom is 7. Now you can probably just think about this one. 3 times 4 is going to be 12, and 3 plus 4 is 7. So I can write this as, again, we got x's and x's, plus 3 plus 4, and it's equal to 0. So once you have it factored, then you set each factor equal to 0. And we talked about this. Some of you may need to show the work. Some of you can probably just look at it. But the work would be, I would set x plus 3 equal to 0 and x plus 4 equal to 0. So these are just one-step equations. To get rid of the plus 3, I would minus 3. So I would get x equals negative 3. Here I would minus 4 to both sides and get x equals negative 4. So my two answers would be negative 3 and negative 4.